Hi, I'm Bill Larson, and you're listening to the Audio Description Narrators of America Know Your Narrator series, Beyond Your Narrator episode.
Today, we're very happy to have Bill Holmes with us and Shane Salk Productions. Did I get that right?
You did.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, guys.
3 things you said, 2 of the names are the same.
How about that? Thanks so much for joining us. Let's start off by asking you, Bill, what do you love about audio description?
Audio description, well, what I like about it is it allows people to see what they want to see in their own minds, but it just kind of gives them a little leg up as to if there's a particular sound effect or something happening that is difficult to distinguish. It gives them a leg up as to what is happening, yet they can still see it the way they want to see it in their own minds.
What a great answer. How about you, Shane?
The idea that these things that are designed for a specific medium are accessible to everybody, visually impaired and not, is amazing. And like Bill said, it actually opens up the world where if I'm watching a movie, I know exactly what that person looks like, what the director wants me to see. But if you're watching with the audio description, or you're just listening with something without visuals, you get to decide much more of the creativity of what's going on. You're not confined by somebody else's idea.
Yeah, it's more like reading a book almost.
Do either of you have any experience with audio that relates specifically to our blind and low vision audiences?
I mean, growing up, I'm not visually disabled, but I do have dyslexia. And growing up in school and learning how to read was very challenging. So I actually did work with an organization in Seattle called RFBD, I think, which is Reading for the Blind and Dyslexic. And this was back in the day when you had to get audio tapes. You rented a recorder that could adjust speeds and everything. So I actually know a lot of those same struggles where looking at a page and not really having an idea what's on that page because I couldn't read that well. In that sense, I do have experience with those kinds of, they were barely books on tape. It was volunteers reading textbooks or volunteers reading, The Scarlet Letter or something like that. And fiction and novels or anything like that. But it was the only way that I could get through anything. And so seeing the way that all of these things have evolved since 20 years ago or 10 years ago is incredibly exciting to me.
It's very cool. And we're literally on a podcast right now, not to get meta.
Yeah, right?
One of the cool things that I admire about both of you is your expertise when it comes to voice talents, specifically in all aspects of voiceover. Could either of you, let's start with you, Bill, talk about what you've done in contributing to the growth of quality and excellence as far as voice talents go?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm the guy who's been growing it. I've been going along with it. I've been evolving with the industry itself.
But you've trained a lot of great voice talent.
No, I have. I would say, I started out just as an actor, and I veered off into the voiceover market because, it was, short amount of time, big amount of money to go in and do a 1-minute commercial, and then you make money off of it for a while. So that's what really kind of got me interested in it at first. But as my career has gone on, for your listeners out there, I'm about 61 years old now, and I've been doing this since I was 19. And I've always stayed with voiceover. I kind of stopped doing on-camera stuff, commercials and TV and stuff like that. But I've always stayed with voiceover because I've always felt that you have to be good at it in order to work, in order to get the jobs in the industry. And it doesn't depend on how you look or the color of your hair or whatever. So it mainly just depends on your quality of acting that you're providing. Then I kind of gravitated into wanting more control over projects. So I started directing part-time at casting houses around Los Angeles. And from that, I started teaching voiceover. And yes, I have helped a lot of people with their careers. I've coached and mentored many a talent out there that you hear to this day. And one of the reasons is because, I got to be honest with you, Roy. I like to direct people the way I like to hear things, because I like honesty in storytelling. It's not that I'm some kind of a genius or anything like that. I don't use any real technique except the technique of, I know what I like and I know what I think is believable. So that's what Shane and I have done with our audio dramas here, is we've tried to just take what we feel is real and good storytelling and great writing, and we try to put it together with who we feel are the best performers. I mean, we're in Los Angeles, so we can dip into some of the greatest talents out there, from celebrities to people who are just starting out, in our classes and stuff. We've got quite a mix of talent in there. When it comes to that, with me, I can only speak for myself. With me, it's all about the quality. It's about the quality of the talent. It's about the quality of the story itself. And, Shane will complain to you every now and then about how I'm always dogging him. It's like, let's make this, let's go a little further with it. And let's go a little less with that and stuff like that. And in kind, he's pushing me the same way, So I think the two of us together come up with the correct sound and the correct performance and the correct voice and everything for the story. I think we push each other well in that regard. So it's all about the quality of the product itself is what we're always after.
Very cool. And Shane, when it comes to collaborating with Bill and that focus on storytelling, what is the thing that you're finding most excited about in that collaboration, either with the voice talents, the celebrities, the voice talents that you work with? What keeps you charged up?
I'm going to sort of answer your other question too about the evolution of voiceover you can see in cartoons and stuff. And it's really exciting right now because, like Bill was saying, it's all about reality and honesty, where back in the day, it was all about doing these funny voices and acting behind it. But the thing that's really exciting about what Bill and I are doing and the collaboration we do and the kind of products that are being put out there now is it's as real as it can be. And the most important thing to us about our collaboration and about the products that we're putting out, and one of the problems I have with some other shows, is I never want to talk down to the audience. It's like that really, really stupid thing that people do when, somebody's in a wheelchair or something, you start talking louder and you're like, why are you talking louder? They can't walk. They can hear you. What the hell? So for us, people say, oh, well, there's no visuals, so you really have to spoon feed all of these things to people. And you don't. If you trust your audience and you trust your design and your storytelling, it never has to be, well, I'm just going to walk over and open this green door. I'm like, well, first of all, why the hell does it matter that it's green? Why do you think your audience can't figure that out? I mean, visually impaired people go about their day all day long and don't have somebody say, oh, would you like me to open up? I'm just going to walk over here and open up the shut up. So it's very exciting to me. And one of the things we push for is this evolution of trusting your audience and trusting your art. If they can't figure it out without you spoon feeding it, then you have to go back in and redesign. And if you see something different than I see when I design it, or if you see something different than your friend sees, you're all correct.
Yeah.
That's the best part about it.
Yeah, that's actually my favorite part is when people listen to our stuff, they will come and question us and they'll say, in episode 3, you did this and you did that, and that's because of this and because you wanted him to say it like that, right? And we'll just kind of look at each other and go, yeah, right, sure. Yeah, because that's what they see, and we don't, if that's not what we meant, we don't want to spoil it for them. But like I said earlier, it's more like reading a book. That's why people always go, the book is better in your own mind than what the director is putting up on screen, so that absolutely is my favorite part of putting these stories together.
I mean, just growing up, I listened to a lot of old time radio drama and things like that. And even today, a lot of the time I will put on just the audio of a TV show or something to go to sleep and things like that, because I don't need to see what that interpretation is. And that's what we push for with our show, Carcerum, is you see what you want to see, because it really is designed for anybody with an imagination. It's not designed to, for one audience or another audience, or like, oh, well, you have to have this, you have to have that.
And I think the art of storytelling, with all the visual stimulation we get in the world today, the art of sitting around a fire, go back to the Native Americans, in this country years and years ago, they would tell their stories from generation to generation, and the stories would live on, and those generations saw the story as they wished to see it. And hopefully in a very small way, we're bringing some of that back so that people can just visualize it for themselves. That's what I really enjoy about this medium.
Well, if you were to take our audience and put us in front of a fire and kind of introduce Carcerum to them, what would be something that would kind of tease them to get them to tune in? What's the gist of your show?
Carcerum is an epic fantasy series. Two friends go off because there is a prophecy that's been passed down through generations, and some people believe this prophecy, some people don't, but these two friends go off and try to help the prophecy come true, to save their land, because their land has been overwrought with marauders and monsters, and people are magic. There are people that come and just grab children that show magic and take them away, and it's not a fun place for a lot of people to live. So they want to protect the world, and there's sword fights and monsters and magic, and it's sort of mixed between Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones and Princess Bride, because there's a lot of heart, a lot of humor, and it's really all about the relationships of these people.
Buddy movie.
Yeah, and a buddy movie.
And a buddy movie. We don't want to give too much away.
Well, this is one of the first times that I've heard of a epic fantasy without the visuals. As far as our work with audio description, we bring that almost after the fact. Could you both talk about your approach when it comes to this audio-only drama and bringing that epic fantasy to life?
Yeah, when it starts with the writing, and we wrote this. We've had a number of writers come together, and we had these writers' weekends, and we said, I want you to write the movie. And by that, I wanted them to write it as if people could see it.
As if we were going to film it. Because when people try to write for audio only, I find they talk down to their audience. They don't put in those descriptions, or they put in descriptions that's just far too much. And you're like, but you don't need to do that. You need to trust your audience. Yeah, even the writers would say, well, if I write it that way, how are they going to see? How are they going to do? And Shane and I would always go, hey, don't worry about that. That's our problem.
Yeah.
That's our problem when we design it. You just write it like it's a movie, so that all the action is there and all the little details are going to be there, and then we'll fill that in later. Yeah.
Well, and then when designing it, when we have I guess the next step is when we have the actors come in, we have them act it like it's a play, like it's a movie. It's big, it's broad. It's hard because they go, well, where am I? And we're like, well, you're in a field, so you really have to project. You can't pretend you're in a booth and pretend to project. We're handing them 15-pound weights and saying, this is your sword, because that's the kind of efforts we need. We're not relying on movie magic. Everything that we put in there, you're going to hear and you're going to see.
Yeah, we had one actress, Dana Powers. She actually signed up and took some sword fighting lessons down the road here in Hollywood, so that she would get she didn't do a lot of that physical stuff in her real life. There wasn't a lot of sword fighting to be had. So
she doesn't date as much anymore.
Well, that's true. So she took some lessons so that she could use her sense memory as an actress to duplicate that in the sound booth itself.
And we have a lot of horses in this, or we have some horses in the show, and Bill grew up with a lot of horses. So he's sitting there going, no, when you ride a horse, it's this motion, because you're going to hear that in the voice. And I've been very tired recording sometimes because of those things. When we design it, we are designing the sounds that you hear in the environment, everything. So you really are shooting the movie. We sit here and go, well, where would the bar be compared to the door? Because we need to get those distances and the perspectives of everybody. I'm picturing like, okay, the field that they're in having this sword fight looks like this. So we need these grass sounds and this kind of trees, and it's this wide.
Yeah, there was one night we were in here editing, and we were arguing about this and that, and then finally Shane pulled out a piece of paper and he puts it on the table and he starts drawing what he has in his head. And I'm looking at it going, no, the table's not over there. The table's over here. And this is over there. And that's... So we both had, different pictures in our head, and we had to get on the same page in order for us to finish the evening. It was pretty funny.
And one of the, I mean, it's very small details because every single character in this has different footsteps. And I have some programs and stuff that help me with this, but I literally go through every single episode and pretend I am every single character and do the footsteps for every single character, because those little things you hear, even if you hear them and you don't realize you're hearing them, it subconsciously tells your brain some picture. And that's where, like, little chair noises, a laugh in the background, all of those things we're filming, but we're only doing it with audio.
Yeah, we always refer to everything as film. The camera would see this and the camera would pan here and we would push in here, and we try to duplicate with that with the sound.
Your commitment to these details and that trust of the audience and not talking down, it's the parallels to quality audio description are astronomical, and you both are taking it to the next level. It sounds like with the design, that the way you're even talking about design is with all these film terms, and the sound design is going to come alive because of it. Thank you so much for all this detail that you're giving to all audiences, sighted or blind.
Well, you're welcome. I remember when I watched Saving Private Ryan in the theater, and when I walked out of that show, I remember saying to my wife, I said, if this doesn't win the Academy Award for Best Sound, I don't know what will, because when they landed on Normandy, I literally felt bullets whipping by my head. It felt like in this theater that I was in. And that's kind of the same type of experience we're hoping our audiences have with Carcerum.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience?
I really am in awe of visually impaired people. I lived in New York for a long time, and the community there I respect so much. And I want to encourage them to reach out and let us know what you think, because if there's stuff that we can be doing better, let us know. Your thoughts and values to everything that I've been doing. I've been doing audio stuff for a very long time, and been trying to make these kinds of dramas and this style. So I just want to encourage that kind of interaction.
We appreciate any input that people give us to the story and to what they're already hearing that we've already released.
Yeah.
How can people reach you, and how can we hear this audio fantasy epic drama?
You can hear the show. Our website is Carcerum, the series. That's CARCEREM, theseries.com. You can find us on any social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that. Our handle is at Carcerum, the series. And then you can find all the links on our website, but on Spotify, on iTunes, Google Podcasts, all the places that you can find your podcast.
Wherever you can download a podcast, that's where we are. And
to get a hold of us, there's a contact form on carcerumtheseries.com, or you can shanesalkproductions.com. There's also emails on there that you can reach us, or reach out on Facebook or Instagram. We look at all of the messages and we respond to everything. So I strongly encourage it.
We hired a little guy who lives in a cave and just looks at all those messages and calls us when some good ones come in. So,
and just as a postscript, guys, if you were to get a ideal feedback from an audience listening to your show, what would you love for them to say? No spoiler alerts.
I would love for them to say, I love this. I told everybody about it, and I got everyone to subscribe. But in general, like for this kind of audience, if they say, I see a movie, I know what's going on at all points. And
my favorite,
I'm not missing the visuals.
My favorite feedback was from my youngest son when he was listening to it while we were still in the beginning stages. He was listening to the first episode, and he just said, he goes, "Oh, Dad, it's like I'm reading a book. It really sounds cool. I see everything like I'm reading a book. And that was really the nicest thing anybody could have said to us, because that's really our goal. So,
and I want to point out it's full cast. We have 122 different characters, as many actors in this first season of it. You know, people sometimes say, oh, is it like a book on tape? And I'm like, it's really not.
No.
The only thing it's similar to as a book on tape is that it's only audio.
And the really exciting thing is we have such a range of talent. We have Academy Award winning and nominated actors. We have Emmy winning actors. We have Golden Globe winning actors, as well as beginner students and everything in between, because and we're able to get these celebrity type people to play with us because it is exactly that. They love coming in whenever we say, you know, it doesn't really pay that much, but you get to be this guy who kills somebody in this arena somewhere, and they just go, oh yeah, no, I want to kill somebody. Yeah, I'll come in and do it. So,
and I really do believe, and I hope that people hear how much fun the actors are having with it and how much fun we're having making it. And I think you can hear it within the show as well.
And if you listen closely, you'll hear young Shane Salk here as one of the main characters as well.
Very cool. Oh, thanks so much, Shane. And thanks, Bill, for joining us. It's great to hear how you've put this project together, and I can't wait to see it.
Well, thank you for having us.
You're not going to see it. You're going to hear it.
I'm using your term because you've been so visually oriented in describing the design and everything.
Oh, good point.
So I'm
so
definitely.
You're right. You will see it. It'll be in your own head.
It'll be. I can't wait to see it in my head. There's the part that I missed. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you, Roy.